Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Lionel. Hey, I'm your host for LT Productions. You are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Love and Marriage Detroit. This is season 2B, episode 10. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video. You can also support me by sharing and leaving your comments below. Let's dialogue. Subscribe to this channel if you are new. Welcome. And let's get into this episode. Okay, so we start off with the whole staycation. Almost everyone has made it. It's a staycation for work for Christina. I didn't see the work, and kind of would like to know. Possibly, I need to go to your IG page, Christina, just to see what type of content you gathered for your work. Anyways, so of course, everyone comes. They don't want any drama. Almost everyone comes. They're waiting on the Dovines. Latoya ends up calling and ended up, I guess, who was it? Kimberly. She did answer, and you could tell in her voice that she was in a mood. And it wasn't some type of disrespectful mood. You could tell that a lot of stuff has been going on. You know, sometimes with these folks, they just late. And things happen, but it wasn't some type of casual, yeah, I'm late. No, something happened. But we find out later on, their child was in the hospital due to respiratory issues. I think he's got, asthma. I'm assuming asthma. But that made them late. I think Anthony or Latoya or both did say, well, I hope this weekend is not filled with having Chelsea being here. Then I guess the Smiths, they had a problem with that as far as in their confessionals. And I think later on, like, let's not have any type of spicy comments about Chelsea. If I understand Chelsea's your friend, but it's just like, wait a minute. These folks, the friend group, the married group that you have invited on your trip, don't want to be involved in any mess and don't want any surprises of someone that they don't really get along with. I guess you could probably feel that way about Kimberly, but that's water under the bridge at this point, right? I would think, you know. But anyways, the Dovines ended up showing up. They go to dinner, and there is a setup. The wives somehow have talked all of the husbands into wearing the same green sweater. Bravo was the one that was kicking up against it the most, even before. And then he found out when he actually got to dinner as to what was going on. Bravo, sometimes you gotta follow your first mind. So, yeah, all the men were in this particular green sweater with the turtleneck sweater. That's good for winter if you have winters. I don't have winters anymore, but that would have been a good sweater. But anyways, so of course the men were like, "Arr," and the women were laughing about it. And they said that they're going to get their wives back, and I can't wait to see what they do. Of course, they start having dinner, all that good stuff, and Chelsea is brought up. I forgot by who. Or what, how did it get started? Did Anthony start talking about Brandon taking digs at his wife? I don't know which one, but we can go with either or. So I'll just go with what Brandon said about Anthony's wife. Is it Toya? Lord, why am I forgetting these folks' names? But anyways, the wine or whatnot. Brandon feels like that they need to invest in better corks for the wine. And they felt like, well, Latoya felt like that was crazy. Why would you go on and just say that type of stuff? Blah, 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 blah. They feel like it wasn't necessary to take that type of dig. Brandon says, well, you're always taking digs, acting like you're better than everyone, saying that you put 2,050, you should have put 275K in this business and to get better corks and all that. What I will say, Brandon, is if Anthony is taking some type of dig or acting like he's better than anyone, he does it to you. He doesn't talk about Christina, but he will just kind of, clown on you. I think taking a dig at Latoya's stuff, like, keep her out of it. That makes it kind of like, okay, what's going on? But Latoya says, until you get a wine business, don't talk to me. Come holler at me when you do get a wine business. Shoot. you know. um, then they start talking about Chelsea. Anthony did feel away because he said he was going to bring it up of them just bringing her along with him. Christina brought up a point, which I do agree with. Anthony, you didn't even greet her when she came in. And I can give you that, Christina. I don't think that you should have sprung her on them. You were talking about Anthony's leadership skills and how he should have handled Chelsea. However, if you're bringing a team with you or anyone outside of yourself, you should be letting the host know that invited you that, hey, they're coming. Because if you need an entourage like Beyonce, you know, so Anthony didn't accommodate. Possibly he did have more waters. He could have gave her some. I think that was poor leadership on his behalf, you know. However, I can't put too many lashings on him because I think that the Smiths try to be passive aggressive and how that they're going to throw shade and how they try to be messy. Anthony is more upfront about it, and then he's just deemed as a villain. If this professional person is going to be a part of your team, they need to be professional. Anthony was not saying anything to her and all that good stuff. He was addressing y'all as to why y'all even bringing this person around me when you know we clash. I think that definitely, especially if you know that these people don't even get along, that should have been addressed beforehand. Hey, I'm bringing this person, but she's going to be over in a corner and everything will be well. But you were messy. You're not being called messy. Anthony's bringing it out, or you're not even acknowledging that you were messy, but y'all two were messy in this whole situation. Sorry. Others had things to say. You know, Kimberly said, you know, I've never seen Chelsea like that. Christina's even saying, you know, she hasn't been that way to me, but you're seeing how she is with your friend group. Unfortunately, you have your friend as your friend and also your assistant, somebody that you have on staff. It's going to look a certain way when you keep bringing her around. And I'm not understanding why she keeps coming around. And then somehow everybody else has to behave concerning her. That's not cool. Especially when she doesn't have any tact about herself and she really wants moments on camera. I don't know who said it, but probably Bravo and his wife said, you know, I think that, or that may be Russell, but who cares? I think everybody needs to take accountability for what this whole Chelsea situation is about. I think Latoya said that she's ghetto because Christina said, oh, so you think that she's ghetto? She's like, yeah. Well, I guess she's just ghetto around you guys. Like, no. Latoya said that she hears around. Latoya be knowing stuff, but she don't be like giving away her sources because she was like this during the reunion last season. So she knows what's up. And they can sit up here and fake and deny or whatever. Latoya be knowing. I do more favor Latoya in this matter because it's like, well, okay, it doesn't seem like Latoya is just not liking someone to not like someone. Sorry. So they finally get to a more serious conversation. I don't know what led into it, but anyways, the drama's simmered. Brandon and Christina, they talk about their marriage. Brandon does say or share in regards to the state of his and Christina's marriage and what they just went through. He felt like he couldn't be a leader to his wife, and neither was his wife allowing him to lead. So he asked for a divorce. Sorry for that glare. I apologize because I was trying to move it, but whatever. I apologize. Anyways, so he ended up asking his wife for a divorce, and this is the 4th time that he's done it. A couple of months out, he ended up saying, you know, I think possibly I do want to do this, da-da-da-da-da. So they're both positioning themselves in a different way to try to see if they can make this marriage work. He feels like she's allowing him to lead, and she's seeing the leader in him that she's wanted to see from him from the beginning. Christina begins to cry. Kimberly was like, don't cry, you're going to make me cry. And then I think it was Russell said, no, let her cry. And I felt like that was a good sign for the group as a whole, because at the beginning of the season, Christina and Brandon did not want to share what was going on in their marriage. They felt like sharing it amongst a mixed crowd that could use it against them. But I think it's a good sign that they were able to be open and vulnerable at this point and share what's happening. And I think it was pretty cool. Dinner has ended. Marcel, he goes upstairs and he heard his wife said that what she needs in order to be turned on, so he gets romantic, throws rose petals on the bed, and as far as we know, they had a glorious night. Everyone else goes to bed, as far as I know. And the next day is the baby sprinkle for Colby. Colby feels seen, which I think was really cool. Kimberly and Christina, they have a moment, and it looks like things are better between them. You know, she had this conversation. She said, I don't know if it'll ever be the same as before, but I don't want to be faking this, and I'm willing to take baby steps, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And Christina was receptive, all that good stuff. The guys, they go out jogging. Russell was the one that was supposed to be ahead of it, but then he found out that he had military duty, so he had to go handle that. So they are running in the cold. So glad I'm not in the Midwest anymore. So glad for that. Ugh. But anyways, at some point, Anthony starts saying, you know, I think we had a good conversation last night talking about the Chelsea situation. And it was nice to see Bravo not D-riding. You know, the D-riding I'm talking about. So Brandon and Bravo, they take offense to that. I don't know if they got offended by the deep writing, or is it connecting to somehow being a masculinity thing, as thinking it's like homerific type things going on. I don't know, but they did. So they have a conversation after they get done running about it, like, why are you talking about us D-riding? You know, sometimes I agree with you, sometimes I agree with him, da-da-da-da-da. Brandon says it looks like Bravo will defend me more than him. If you on that BS, then we're just going to be, you're not going to get the support or whatever. So it kind of ended there. Brandon made in the window of, or an implication of, well, it seems like the one that's always talking about riding D looks like he wants to do it. Now that's a social media comment. I don't know if you got it from social media, Brandon, but like, I just didn't know if y'all were offended that that Anthony was just saying how much he was kissing up to Brandon, or you just didn't like the implication of D-riding, which I feel like, get over it. But I do understand the masculinity, especially up north, but that could be anywhere, but I understand it. I get that part, but forget all that. Anthony said what he said. Y'all can, you know yourself, so just be true to that. So that's all I do have for this episode. It was cool. Cool staycation. It didn't get dramatic like y'all probably thought it should have, but oh well. This is not any other show. This is Detroit, and I appreciate it. But thank you for coming to my channel, stopping by. Leave your comments, leave your likes, and show your shares. Until the next episode or the next video, peace.